I have got Mr. Mike Carr here from Naviant. He is our president, and today he is going to join me for a conversation about digital transformation and what that's looked like for Naviant. So, thanks for having this discussion with me, Mike. And
Thank you, Emma.
thank you. My first question would be, Navient, like many other companies, has been going through a digital transformation over the last couple of years. And so I would just like to start off by asking what that's looked like for Navient.
Yeah, thanks. Well, I would say our digital transformation process started, probably 3 or 4 years ago when we really started to kind of vision what that would look like for Navient. Um, our move to the cloud, I would say, has been very, highly researched. It's been very intentional, and it's also been gradual over time. And probably our most significant steps have actually taken place this year, and right, probably last year even. Last year we started to move some of our applications that from our true SaaS type applications to the cloud, most notably Microsoft and Microsoft 365, Microsoft Teams, Microsoft OneDrive, and all the capabilities that brings, cloud and cloud capabilities that brings. So we had great luck with that. That's been a great platform for us. That took place last year. This year, we really started to address platforms and applications that were on-prem that we hosted ourselves, and we needed to have a cloud provider to host those. And so we landed on AWS. The AWS platform is an incredible platform. It's powerful. It's flexible. It's also very complicated. One thing that we learned, especially I learned through that process, was how complicated it was, and that we needed to build a whole new skill set inside our system administration team to handle those complications, which we did. We've done. We've we've gone through the education process. We actually hired an outside consultant to kind of help us through that process as well.
Perfect. So you mentioned the idea that the strategy and kind of how we moved forward was pretty well researched. So can you just share a little bit with us about maybe what some of the benefits that we've seen and some of maybe the concerns that you had kind of going into this move?
Yeah. So I would divide sort of that decision into two kind of decisions. One is what to do with our on-premise applications, and sort of that AWS decision, and then the other dealt with like the Microsoft the applications that were where the vendor actually provided the hosting in a true SaaS environment. So the benefits of moving to the cloud, which we've absolutely seen, capabilities, redundancy of our network, the robustness of the network, our ability to scale the infrastructure really quickly. Um, major benefits. Reduced CapEx spending. So we had some of our decisions were timed with planned hardware spend. So instead of making big CapEx spend, we would roll out a certain application onto the cloud, either a SaaS model or the AWS model. So reduced CapEx, a huge benefit, and probably the most significant benefit is reduced IT staff, and not staff. We didn't reduce staff, but basically shifting some of that needed expertise to true experts. And when you deal with a Microsoft and even like a Highland, they have incredible experts that they bring to the table, so that you can be confident that your application is updated, current, security is good, and really gives a peace of mind there. Concerns, again, talking about security, just because you move to AWS and they've got a great network doesn't mean you get to not be concerned about security. And so
Hands off.
security maintained, we continue to be a major concern. Again, a benefit of the true SaaS model, especially if you're with a reputable software applications vendor, is they're going to take care of a large part of that security issue for you. On the AWS side, we absolutely lacked expertise. It was kind of a whole new learning that our system administration team needed to go through, and so that lack of expertise, we've gotten ramped up, but it wasn't an easy process. And then probably the last concern or issue that we ran into is with an AWS. While it's very powerful and they're huge capabilities, the pricing is incredibly complicated. And quite honestly, our experience was we almost had to get into it before we even really understood the pricing. And so we're at a point now where we do understand the pricing, and we can scale things back and scale things up to make sure that we're making cost-effective decisions.
So, one last question that I have for you would be, you mentioned earlier how this has helped us kind of shift some of our CapEx spending, and knowing right now the effects that COVID are having across the board for folks. People are going to be reprioritizing projects and maybe looking at where there are opportunities to cut out those CapExes or CapEx expenses. Can you help talk a little bit about how maybe you think SaaS solutions or cloud hosted solutions in general can help kind of support people through this transition?
Yeah, absolutely. Um, First, one thing I guess I should also just back up a little bit especially now in hindsight, in terms of the benefits. One thing with the COVID-19 that we found is our move to the cloud. The benefits that we thought we would gain, we absolutely gained, and we gained them in spades in terms of when the time happened where we needed to work from home. For us, it literally was as easy as sending out an email and telling everybody, please bring home your laptops and work from home. And our productivity just did not suffer. In fact, there's probably some evidence that in certain areas it's actually improved. So I would attribute a major portion of that successful move to a work from home environment was because of our strong cloud presence, as it relates to, especially on the Microsoft side of things and the use of Teams, and then probably the on-base side of things in terms of just content, our ability to get to our content, and the ability to continue to execute our workflows remotely. So to your CapEx question, absolutely, it's a huge element. In fact, many of our decisions in terms of what to move to the cloud have been driven by a CapEx spend that was going to be coming up next year. And the benefit of that, just in terms of you're reducing your risk, and obviously your upfront investment in something. But when you're making an investment, it's a lot more risky to put $500,000 into IT technology up front, confident that it's going to work out for the next 5 years, as opposed to basically spending 1/5 of that now in your operating budget. It's just it's a less risky way to build out your infrastructure. So I don't know, did that answer the question in terms of CapEx?
Yeah, thank you. And so I think that's going to kind of wrap up our discussion. But again, thank you, Mike, for joining me today. And for anybody that's interested and wants to have their own cup of coffee with Mike Carr, reach out to me and I can help connect you. We've been doing kind of a coffee with Carr sessions lately, and we'd love to set one up for you. But otherwise, have a great day, everyone.
Bye-bye, Emma.